Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for coming back. I have to do a relatively quick one. I've been watching the CPAC um, uh, experience, I guess, whatever you'd like to call it. In the United States, a couple of people have just been speaking. Tulsi Gabbard, for one. I'm talking to you from Canada, of course, but Tulsi Gabbard, and she talked about this man who Donald Trump spoke about him. However, Tulsi Gabbard brought up the point that in Canada during our freedom, the complaints coming from free protesters in Canada, which were beaten badly by the police, as they always do. The police are not your friends in Canada. The police force, it says it used to say on their cars to serve and protect the public. Now it just says police service, and it is a police service. And all police officers in Canada have taken an oath to protect the government from the people. That should worry everyone. This man, Tulsi Gabbard, mentioned that this man froze the bank accounts of the protesters, which he did, and they're still frozen. He also took the children away from the protesters, and they are separated, and no one knows really where the children are right now. The parents don't know either. We have no independent news outlets right now. We used to. The only ones left are Rebel News and True North. But True North, I think, they've been hit by so many lawsuits from this man. And when Rebel News reporters show up at events, the police sent by this man beat up Rebel News reporters. Hold them against the wall and just pound them. That's the police in Canada. Stasi. In Germany, they were called, what were they called? Was it Stasi? I've forgotten now. Anyway, Tulsi Gabbard forgot to mention that in Canada, Health Canada is currently monitoring 33 million cell phones of Canadians. Now, Health Canada's job, as it might sound like Health Canada has something to do with your health, they are monitoring us, and they are ordered to do so by this man. For what reason? You know what? We don't know. Guess what else is happening in Canada? Canada's military is experimenting with fake news to see its effect on the public. Canada's military is doing this. Canada is not a free country and not democratic, and it hasn't been actually since 1981 when we got a new constitution written by this man's daddy, Joseph Trudeau. Joseph Trudeau at that time took all the rights of Canadians away and gave them to the judges of Canada, and no one noticed it. Lawyers noticed it, and a lawyer friend of mine pointed this out to me. I had no idea that this is the way it went, but that's how it went. We right now live in tyranny here. Where I live in New Westminster, outside of Vancouver, the city of Vancouver in the province of British Columbia, I shouldn't actually give my address, but I'm going to tell you, there was a run on the bank on Friday, and I went there as well. I was warned by a guy named Jordan Peterson, who is raising the alarm as loud as he can about the injustices of Canada. He may soon get incarcerated. If this man, even though this man says he has suspended emergency measures, I don't think that's actually true. Because when he invoked them, it had to be approved by Parliament, which didn't happen, had to be approved by our Senate, which is considered the house of sober second thought. They're not sober. I can tell you that about them. They're ex-hockey players and ex-journalists. Jesus. Heavy drinkers. Well, I don't doubt it. Some judges, too, are in there, but they're also very heavy drinkers. So anyway, there we are. This is where we are. And Tulsi Gabbard brought this up, but she didn't bring up the bit that there's 33 million cell phones being currently monitored and still being monitored. She also didn't say that there was a run on the banks. There was, because the banks closed for 5 hours. The 5 sister banks closed for 5 hours and had to. There was a run on money. Compliments of Jordan Peterson. I watched him and I thought, he says, you got to do it because they've done it to the truckers. And if you raise any alarm yourself, especially if they think there's something suspicious about your bank account, they'll take the money. And we now know, God is our witness, this man will take your money, he will take your children. The RCMP and the police in Ottawa they vandalized the trucks, they vandalized farm equipment, which was also there. Farmers came too. Nobody knows where all this equipment is. Everything's a secret here in Canada. A goddamn secret. This is going to have to be a short one, but we have to raise the alarm. I'm glad that Tulsi Gabbard in the United States brought the alarm, and now I'm just listening to Donald Trump, who is also saying very similar things. He said when he met Trudeau, he said he's two-faced. He is two-faced. He's a communist like his father. He's French. He's got French blood. Anybody remember the French Revolution? I mean, we weren't there during the French Revolution. But when they turn on each other, they're completely vicious. They don't really like democracy. What was his name? The old president of France who spent the Second World War in London, the city of London. I almost called him Fidel Castro. He claimed that he was heading the French resistance against Nazi Germany while drinking tea and eating croissant. Anyway, he very famously said that he loves France, but he doesn't particularly like the French. This man loves Canada. He doesn't particularly like Canadians. I'm going to quit now. I'll be back later, I hope. So stay tuned. Everyone stay safe. There's misinformation. I watch a news report by, he calls himself the Maverick of Wall Street. I've forgotten his name. Anyway, he's saying that there's so much bullshit happening now about the Ukrainian war, and we're being fed false information about it. So believe nothing. Believe nothing until you can see it for yourself. Everyone take care. Be cognizant of we are under attack. As Tulsi Gabbard said, America may fall like Canada did. Biden has named all Americans terrorists. What's he call them? Yes, domestic terrorists. Compliments of who? The Democratic Party. Thank you for listening. Have a nice night. Bye-bye.
Wow, Pedro gives you his special gypsy glasses and this is what you choose to look at? Pedro is not very sorry for you.